Okay, recording this video Saturday 25th of February 2012. Hope you're having a good weekend. I just recorded this entire video without sound, so I'm having to redo it again. So let me just run through this really quickly. So Thursday we got a nice little pop to the upside. I thought we'd had a little bit of a trend day up. I kind of was hoping, waiting for that, and we got it on Thursday. And then Friday we finished up with one of the most boring trading days ever. The total top to bottom range was only about 6 points and only 0.9 million contracts traded. On the weekly chart we've ended up with only about 5.8 million contracts traded. Extremely light volume. Haven't seen that lighter volume since the Christmas New Year period at the beginning of the year, and the same thing kind of beginning of last year. And then we also had on Friday this dreadful, what people are calling the whale, high frequency trading program, potentially kind of cutting in. And we sat through a 2-point range for over 2 hours here. It was just interminable. Initially kind of within this 1-point range, then break out to another 1-point range here. And the market just kind of goes nowhere. It's incredibly frustrating. You get no sense that the trade that you've taken has got kind of continuation momentum and is actually going in the right direction. So really tough trading. I hope something kind of breaks this thing and kind of goes away, because it kills my enthusiasm for trading during that time period. Let me show you what I'm seeing on these charts. On the equity side of things, a whole bunch of like Rambo no demand type pattern at the highs. On the risk on charts, there's a whole bunch of kind of breaking out into new uptrends, and so the question is what's going to happen kind of going forward. I have a feeling we'll just consolidate beginning of next week for a few days, and then kind of set off in this uptrend kind of going forward. But let me show you the equities indices charts to start with. So this is Nasdaq here, Rambo pattern on Friday. This is the Dow Rambo pattern on Friday, and the S&P 500 Rambo pattern on Friday, bearish divergence kind of here. But we've not seen these kind of blow-off activity on the highs here, so this is just showing that the amateurs kind of get a little bit too excited and expecting a breakout, and we just might consolidate for a little bit. If you look on the patterns weekly chart, last week was a no demand week, this week's a Rambo week, and on the daily chart, Friday's activity, no demand and Rambo patterns. So that's kind of coming in. Not seeing kind of any type pattern signals for a very long time on the daily chart, so that was kind of the latest one to kind of come in. And then the same type of things on the weekly charts. Let me show you. First of all, Dow weekly chart, Rambo pattern here, and flush signal. So we're up here at this 13,000, really important kind of psychological level. Last year we had exhaustion buying, bearish divergence. We kind of sold off, retesting those highs with kind of flush patterns kind of going on here. On the S&P 500 Rambo pattern on the weekly chart, and Nasdaq wasn't a Rambo pattern, but it was an exhaustion buying kind of pattern. And if you look at kind of the Apple activity, that kind of feels about right. That's kind of what Apple, which is a big component of the Nasdaq now, kind of felt like over the last week or so. On the flip side, you've got all the risk on charts, which are all showing breakouts into nice little uptrends. So this is crude oil. I was recording this, talking about this kind of during the week, that this move was initially led by the Rambo patterns up here, so I was a little bit kind of wary of it, but we've broken through up to 110 here on crude. And crude chart's not unlike the equities chart in terms of we had this sell-off blue professional bar, bullish divergence and flush signals. Professionals come back in here on the lows, bang, down at the 80, and we kind of take off to the upside. And then this last kind of trending up move was kind of set off by this blue professional bar, where the professionals are buying those lows, and just sets off this move into kind of almost like it's not a, strictly speaking, a jumping the creek type move. You can see that on other charts, but you can see professionals buying that continuation of this uptrend. Dollar index, well, it's kind of doing the flip side of the currencies and the risk on chart. So, and I was talking about this last week, this blue professional bar, where I had this spike up into 80, and for me, I was recording that video when we were seeing this activity, and it was a question of do we hold around these lows and then break back up through that blue professional bar or keep going the other way? We've gone the other way, so that was kind of professional profit taking on the way down, bang, and we've kind of gone down here, and you can see it on the euro chart started to take off on the currencies. This is British pound, so British pound, I don't particularly like the British pound because the volatility really is not there. It moves in such relatively small increments, but we'd had exhaustion, selling, bullish divergence and flush patterns in here. You can see the professionals kind of coming in at 154 kind of down here, and then we test, we initially get this little exhaustion buying. So this is everybody changing direction very quickly. So a little it's not exhaustion as the end of the move, because this is just after we've seen this activity bottoming, and they're kind of getting on board, getting out of their shorts, getting long quickly, and then we kind of test back into where the professionals were buying this into this activity here, blue professional bar here, testing into these lows. The lows hold, exhaustion selling on the downside here, and each time we come back in, you can see this kind of lows around 56, 57 kind of holds, and this is getting this move going. So the pound looks fairly strong, kind of breaking out into this uptrend here. And you can see the same thing on the euro. So the euro bottomed here with blue professional bars coming in at 128. We never got an exhaustion selling signal on the daily chart here, but this was the exhaustion buying where people are getting out of their shorts, getting into this long move really quickly, and then we kind of come off a little bit, and then this is blue professional bar kind of comes in. We test the lows of that, and it holds, kind of close back into where the professionals were accumulating, and then bang, this is jumping the creek here, blue professional bar at the kind of breakout level, and the market kind of keeps on going here. Silver's been in a nice little uptrend. So silver kind of, we had this huge top in silver up at 50s, exhaustion buying, bang, sold off, and the retest back was a pullback to end of trend on the daily chart, and then we ended up with exhaustion selling on the downside, blue professional bars kind of come in, bullish divergence. We test back down, flush signals here, amateur down bars into that sequence. 28 was a steal in terms of what the professionals thought of silver, and then we take off from here, and again more kind of jumping the creek activity here, bang, bang, and the lows of these blue professional bars are holding, resistance becomes support, bang, we kind of take off to the upside. So it's quite a lot of blue professional bars there, kind of buying that breakout in silver. And copper, similar thing, copper exhaustion selling, bullish divergence. We test these lows, and this is jumping the creek, blue professional bars through resistance, getting this move going. We've come down to a pullback in an uptrend level. So the amateurs, was this an amateur down bar? No, a bit of a doji bar here. Amateurs kind of there at those lows, blue professional bars buy it up, come back into the acquisition kind of zone, we're kind of breaking above it, so that's kind of on its way as well. So, and there's gold, similar pattern to silver, we're kind of breaking into this uptrend with this kind of jumping the creek here. So all of those risk on markets are getting nicely going in terms of an uptrend, so we're not having participation in the equities, although you might argue that the equities kind of have moved before then, because we've been in this uptrend in equities since October. But with the Rambo patterns, I just think we're going to see a little bit of just consolidation on the side of the equities and probably the risk on markets over the next few days, until we kind of find support and then kind of keep on going through a continuation of the uptrend. On 1500 tip bar chart, Friday's activity was a bit tough. The range was really small at 6 points, so it's difficult to pull out 4 points out of a total range of 6 points top to bottom. But I kind of got long at the beginning of the day, thinking I was buying this blue professional bar at pullback, thinking the highs of that were broken. That was kind of like an icebreaker trade. Should have waited to the high being broken, because it didn't actually get broken. But blue professional bars kind of come in at the lows here, kind of head off in the other direction. So I was kind of long at 64.50, and then get exhaustion buying. Didn't run very far at all. Exhaustion buying, bearish divergence kind of comes in here, and then we had this really quick kind of sell-off. So after seeing exhaustion, bearish divergence, another exhaustion pattern, it wasn't going anywhere, just stopped dead in its tracks here at 66, and so I reversed and went short here at 63.75. And break-even trade on the first trade, but then took a half-point loss on this trade here, because then we had exhaustion selling and bullish divergence come in here. There was no kind of amateur down bars or blue professional bars here at the lows, but it had exhaustion selling. Again, it just stopped dead in its tracks, and as soon as we had this blue professional kind of breakout bar, I kind of bought the highs of that, looking for an uptrend. And then I was thinking, all this blue professional bars kind of come in here. This was like the gathering, kind of waiting to break, into an uptrend above resistance here and kind of get going. And it just stopped dead in its track. This is kind of this whale activity, high frequency trading, and just moved nowhere forever. So I got out at the in this kind of consolidation zone here for a couple of points. But what are we going to do? It's just kind of kills my enthusiasm for trading. So as soon as this thing kind of sets in, it's just going to be hard going. Anyway, then we kind of sold off and just closed within the range, if you like, bottom of the range maybe for the day. Tricky-ish kind of day to trade on Friday. Going forward, if you look at the higher time frame tip bar charts, 40,500 tip bar chart, with the week's activity, this was the Sunday into President's Day, and Rambo pattern at the highs up here at 70s, and we just sat in this kind of consolidation range for the week. I know it's flush patterns down here, but resistance has come in. We've got support to form on 40,500, so I think we might just kind of find that on the way down, so a little bit of weakness to Monday morning. On the 13,500, again, you can see into these highs, amateur bars here, Rambo, just in the mid 60s up to 70, just can't get it going. But we've had exhaustion, selling flush signals kind of coming in here. Question is whether that pullback level is going to hold. I kind of don't think so, just because on the 4,500, we've had exhaustion buying and gone nowhere up here. And potentially this is support becomes resistance on the 4,500, so it might run into a little bit of a trend move on the 4,500, which would coincide the end of that move with support on the 40,500 tip bar chart. So that's kind of what I'm expecting over the next couple of days. So just a little bit of kind of consolidation, but still think we're going to get continuation of the uptrend because the risk-on markets are really pretty strong, and all we need is equities for the volume to come back in. Somewhere here in the high 40s, low 50s, something like that, and then another go up through the 60s into the 70s for a breakout. So there we go. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. We've got the Oscars tomorrow on Sunday. Really looking forward to that, just because sitting here in Hanalei Bay in Kauai, and The Descendants a lot of the movie was filmed here, and that's up for Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actor with George Clooney. So a lot of local sentiment kind of rooting for the Descendants movie. So hopefully that's going to be good news, or some nice interest on Sunday evening. And looking forward to next week's trading for a full week's trading.